Welcome back to Bushsteel. In our last video, thousands of you debated in the comments. The ESEE fanboys swore by the warranty. The Becker loyalists claimed the BK2 is a sharpened pry bar that cannot be destroyed, but opinions don't matter in a survival situation. Physics does. For part 2, we are stripping away the marketing. We aren't just camping, we are simulating a catastrophic gear failure scenario. We are going to test edge stability, tip tensile strength, and finally the catastrophic failure limit. On my left, the KA-BAR Becker BK2, weighing in at a pound of 1095 Cro-Van steel. It's a 1/4 inch thick. It's built like a tank, but does that thickness make it clumsy? On my right, the ESEE 6, made by Rowan Manufacturing with their legendary heat treat. It's thinner, lighter, and faster. But in a torture test, does lighter mean broken? If you own one of these knives, you might want to look away. This is the final death match. Round 1, the hardwood gauntlet. In a survival situation, you aren't chopping balsa wood. You're processing frozen oak, hickory, and knotted pine. We start with the KA-BAR BK2. When you swing this knife, physics takes over. Because of that forward heavy weight balance, the knife does 80% of the work for you. It strikes with the force of a small hatchet. We processed over 500 strikes into seasoned hardwood, and here is the data. The BK2 bites deep, but the thick geometry, that wedge shape, sometimes gets stuck. You have to wrestle it out of the wood. It's not cutting, it's splitting. Now the ESEE 6, the full flat grind, makes this a slicer. It enters the wood effortlessly. It doesn't bind. However, because it's lighter, you have to provide the force. After 500 chops, your forearm is burning. The ESEE 6 is precise, but it requires more calorie expenditure from the survivor. The damage report. After 1,000 combined strikes, we check the edges under a microscope. The BK2 shows 0 rolling. That Cro-Van steel is hard. The ESEE shows microscopic glinting, tiny rolls. This is intentional. ESEE runs their steel slightly softer, around 57 HRC, so that it bends rather than breaks. In the field, you can strop that roll out in 30 seconds. If the BK2 chips, you're grinding for an hour. Round 2, the car door test. Survival isn't always about trees. Sometimes it's urban. Maybe you need to pry open a crate, breach a door, or scavenge scrap metal. We are simulating a rescue pry scenario. We drive the tip of the ESEE 6 through 1/8 gauge steel sheet metal. The tip penetrates easily because it's needle sharp. But watch what happens when we apply lateral pressure. When we twist it sideways to pry the hole open, the ESEE flexes. It bends about 15 degrees, and this is the genius of Rowan's heat treat. It warns you before it fails. Now, the BK2. Driving this tip through metal is harder. It's blunt. It's thick. You have to hammer it in. But once it's in, we apply the same lateral pressure. The BK2 doesn't care. It tears the steel sheets like it's aluminum foil. There is 0 flex. It is a rigid, unstoppable bar of steel. If your life depends on prying open a cockpit door or a frozen window, the BK2 is the clear winner here. The ESEE is a knife. The BK2 is a breaching tool. Now we enter the realm of unreasonable abuse. A common failure point in lesser knives is the handle. Shockwaves travel down the steel and shatter the scales or snap the tang. We are performing the Batoning through hardware test. We are driving both knives through a galvanized steel nail embedded in a log. First, the ESEE 6. We strike the spine. The blade eats the nail. The edge takes significant damage, a deep notch. This is expected. But look at the handle. The micarta scales absorb the shock. Your hand doesn't feel the vibration. The knife is hurt, but functional. Next, the BK2. We strike. The nail is cut in half. The damage to the BK2's edge is minimal, barely a chip. The 1095 Cro-Van is harder than the nail. But here is the flaw. The Grivery plastic handles on the stock BK2 are slick. The shockwave from hitting that nail vibrated so hard it actually loosened the handle bolts. Crucial note, if you buy a BK2, you must carry an Allen wrench or apply Loctite to those bolts. In a long-term survival scenario, the BK2 might rattle itself apart before the steel actually breaks. We've broken things. Now let's talk about the silent killer, rust. Both of these knives are 1095 carbon steel. They are not stainless. They will rust if you look at them wrong. We stripped the coating off the spine of both knives and sprayed them with a saltwater solution for 48 hours. The result? They both look terrible, covered in surface rust. But here is the difference. The ESEE coating powder coat is textured. It holds moisture on the coating but protects the steel underneath aggressively. The BK2 coating is smoother. Once it scratches, and it scratches easily, the rust travels underneath the paint. We call this subsurface corrosion. Winner, ESEE. Their coating is industry-leading for a reason. If you are in the jungle or on the coast, the ESEE will fight the elements longer than the Becker. 11. Tops Alaskan Harpoon. When you need a knife that can survive extreme wilderness conditions, take a look at the Tops Alaskan Harpoon. The weight is around 15 ounces, with a 1-2 in overall length, and that heft gives serious chopping and prying power. The under 7-in drop-point blade, forged from 1095 carbon steel, is built for hard outdoor use, processing wood, handling large tasks, and general survival work. What makes it stand out is versatility. Survival expert Ed Arnold uses it as both a precision cutter and a heavy-duty tool, proving a big knife doesn't have to be clumsy. The traction coating and full-tang construction improve durability, while black linen micarta scales keep your grip solid in wet or freezing conditions. The ballistic nylon sheath with molly backing offers multiple carry options and stores extra gear. It's not an ultralight backpacking knife, but if you want reliability and power, it earns its reputation.